What's up, y'all? Nick Gorley here with another one. Today, I'm going to be taking you through a beat that I've collaborated on with a producer I found on Soundcloud named Razzik. Razzik sent over this really cool melody, and as soon as I heard it, I kind of knew exactly what I was going to overlay on top of it. So I'm just going to kind of take you through what I worked on. His link to his Soundcloud is down in the description below, as well as mine, if you want mine as well. He's got some pretty good stuff, so you should definitely check him out. And without further ado, let's just dive into it. Alright, so just diving right into it. Here's the beat that Razzik initially sent me. Alright, pretty cool melody. Loops over itself real nice, just kind of keeps going. As soon as I heard it, I knew exactly kind of what I wanted to throw on top of it. Starting with a sub bass and an 808 kit, so I'll just kind of take you through that. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to show you is the drum line I put over it. I probably should have recorded it while I was making it, but I didn't. I was just kind of heard this beat and just sort of went into it. So for the drums and the bass, sub bass, I'm just going to kind of play what I did because they're the more technical parts. So if I play it back, it won't sound exactly like what I did in the recording. Here's the 808 kit I added on. Kind of just core 808. I'm using the note repeat function of Maschine to get that hi-hat rolling, and just kind of switching between, the 1/16 and 1/8 rate. And I can walk you through more of how I do that on a later video. If anybody's interested, just let me know in the comments if you want to see how to use note repeats to make cool little beats and stuff like that. I'll probably just make it anyway, regardless if anybody says anything. So that's the 808 kit. And then I added on top of that a sub bass. The sub bass matches the kick of the drums. Anytime you use the sub bass, you want to make sure that it's punching the same time as your kick, ideally. There's times where you obviously will isolate it or have it different, but that's just a main fundamental to kind of aim for. So here comes the sub bass. And you'll hear me kind of going an octave up with the sub bass. That's something I hear a lot in songs that I'm a big fan of, so I just kind of wanted to include that as well. So I'll show you kind of an example of like going up an octave on your sub bass. That's just kind of an example. It kind of just gives it a good little just dimension to it, as opposed to just kind of like rolling on the same note. Yeah, just kind of a little fun extra thing. I like to do that. So something key that I kind of wanted to add in was a counter melody to Razzik's original melody he sent over, something I could layer over the top of it, just get an extra layer in there, add some more dimension. And so I decided on this little flute sound. And so, yeah, I'm going to play a little melody of what I put together for that. In case you're wondering how I'm playing these notes and they're all on scale, I don't know whether you're familiar with Maschine. This device allows you to set your like a pad mode, basically, of how these pads are set up in terms of chord structure and melodies or scales and whatnot. And so when Razzik sent this over, he set the beat up in D sharp minor. And so I set my pad mode up into E flat because it doesn't have D sharp on here, but E flat's the same note. And I set it up into an Aeolian scale. And so these are all automatically going to be in a minor scale. So no matter what I'm playing, you're going to be playing in scale. And in key, so it's just a matter of playing something in tune with the melody that works well with the melody. It doesn't battle against it too much, but plays alongside of it. So yeah, I'm just gonna show you what I did for my melody. Nothing crazy. Then obviously that's just, a little bit quantized. Missed a couple notes, were a little bit off there, but Yeah, so that's the flute. So I added in the flute. And then something else I really like to add into beats, because the original melody is pretty complex melody, and it kind of is just sort of going all the time. I mean, it doesn't really, there's not really any breaks in it or anything. Maybe little pauses, but there's not a lot of room to throw too much stuff in, so I didn't want to overcomplicate this. So once I kind of added in that flute and the 808s and the sub bass, I felt like there was enough there without making it too complicated, and also leaving enough room for lyrics to come over the top of it. But I wanted to add in just a little flair. I like to add in these things. I like to call them sprinkles, and they basically, what they are I just like to add they're just little flares. So I'm just gonna show you what I like to do with sprinkles, and then that'll explain it better. So I'm gonna lay down my first layer of sprinkles, and the sound that these are is just a nice little high-end effervescent sound, effervescent words. Nothing crazy, just really simple. Just some high notes coming in there, almost like a doorbell. I call these sprinkles, and so I like to do two kinds. So I like to have the first one that goes off, so those notes, and I like to make a reverse sprinkle. So I like to have like a response, so like the call and then a response. So the reverse sprinkle is going to come in after the first one. So the first one hits at the beginning of the bar, and this comes in later on. Yeah, I'll just show you. I'm just playing octaves here. That's all this is. Very simple again. So you're going to hear the first sprinkle, then you're going to hear the reverse sprinkle. And I'm really just kind of making up these sprinkle terms. This is just like a little flair I like to add. So you got two sets of sprinkles there. And then with these, what I like to do, just to really help balance them out, is when I'm actually mixing the track, I like to split them up left and right. So like I'll have one sprinkle hit left, and then the next one, when that comes in, will hit on the right. So this is the mixed track. So you're going to hear, assuming you have stereo headphones or speakers on, you're going to hear the first one hit on the left and the second one hit on the right. That just helps give them kind of good balance, and they sort of play with each other. They sort of add a little movement to the track because it kind of keeps you moving left to the right, and sort of just adds some good texture. So that's what I like to do. I call those sprinkles, whatever. Call them whatever you want. I'm sure there's a more official name for them, but that's what I call them, so that's what it is. All right, and the last thing I wanted to add was just something to break up all this a little bit. So a lot of the beat, I don't want to have just the flutes and the sprinkles constantly going. I like to have another layer. I can kind of, once the flutes turn off or the sprinkles turn off, I can bring in another layer and just kind of bounce back and forth between those to kind of add some little diversity to the track and stuff. So I added in some plucked strings. So like, just nice little plucked string sounds. Nothing crazy. Now I'm going to show you the pattern I played for those. So then I got the strings added in. So we got the sub bass, got an 808 kit, flute, some sprinkles, and some strings, all on top of that original melody that Razzik sent over. So then it just comes to arranging it. In arrangement, I've basically, these layers kind of, they come in and out. But there's certain areas where I kind of have breakdowns. So just to give you so I'm just going to play right now sort of just the full pattern with the flutes and the sprinkles and the sub bass and all that stuff. And then it's going to go directly from that into a breakdown where it just kind of pulls out the melody and a couple things you'll just kind of see. So we just got the flute, sub bass, keep the sprinkles in there just for a little bit of flavor. And then it's going to come bring the drum kit back in. And then it goes back into the original melody with the strings. So you see when I bring the strings in, I've cut out the flute and the sprinkles to make a little bit different sound. And I've added another breakdown that's just kind of a little more simplified, just kind of pull some layers out, which is a little bit different than the first breakdown, just kind of keep things, changing up a little bit. So I'm going to play that for you now. It's going to lead into the breakdown. This isn't the breakdown, here it comes right now. Yeah, then it just kind of rides out. But yeah, that was basically it. I'll play the beat here at the end of the song. You can kind of hear the full thing arranged. It's also on Soundcloud. Links are all in the description below. If you're a vocalist or a rapper and you have an idea of what you want to lay over this, by all means, send it over. This is I want to make this channel super collaborative and kind of get everybody involved as we can and just kind of have fun with it and just make awesome music and share with everybody. So if you have an idea of something you want to lay over it, reach out to me. I'd love to help you get on this track. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks, Razzik, for sending it over. If you liked it, hit that like button, subscribe, and that little bell thing, ring-a-ding-a-ding. Yeah, here comes the beat. Stay tuned for more.